Shadows over Hawthorne. Episode 7. The Ritual Unveiled, previously in Shadows over Hawthorne. Detective Elliot Graves uncovered the silent witness, who revealed secrets about the Order of the Black Veil, its rituals, its leaders, and its entity, the Veiled One. Despite the silent witness's sacrifice, Elliot escaped with a notebook containing cryptic clues, knowing the cost of seeking the truth grows heavier with each step. The journal's secret Elliot sat at his desk, the silent witness's notebook open before him. The pages were filled with symbols, maps, and records of the Order's practices. One page stood out, a diagram of a ceremony titled The Rite of Binding. Scrawled beside it were the words, "The blood must flow. The Veiled One will rise." The diagram pointed to St. Alara's Chapel, an abandoned site deep in the woods. Once tied to tragic local legends, it was now linked to the Order. The silent witness's words echoed, "They want you to keep looking." Elliot had no choice but to go. The chapel in the woods. The moon hung low as Elliot navigated the overgrown path to the chapel. Fog clung to the trees, and his lantern cast trembling shadows on the gnarled branches. At last, the chapel emerged, its crumbling walls and sagging roof bathed in faint candlelight. Cautiously, Elliot pushed open the heavy wooden doors. Inside, hooded figures encircled an altar. The stone surface was covered with glowing runes. Suspended above it was a golden chalice, dripping with dark liquid. Elliot's breath caught. This was the rite of binding, as described in the notebook. A terrible truth. The chanting filled the air, eerie and rhythmic. Elliot crept closer, his heart pounding. Near the altar, he saw a young woman bound to a stone pillar, her mouth gagged with a red silk ribbon. The leader, wearing a golden mask, raised a ceremonial dagger. "The blood of the innocent binds the veil. Through sacrifice, we maintain the balance," the leader intoned, his voice deep and commanding. As the dagger plunged downward, Elliot fired his revolver into the air. The hooded figures scattered, their chanting turning to alarmed cries. The Veiled One's presence. Elliot rushed to the altar, untying the terrified woman. "They were going to kill me," she whispered, "for something beyond this world." A low rumble shook the chapel. The runes on the altar glowed brighter, and a shadowy figure began to materialize. Elliot's chest tightened. This wasn't just a ritual, it was a summoning. "Run!" he yelled, pushing the woman toward the door. The shadow grew into a towering veiled figure. Its suffocating presence filled the room. A deep voice echoed in Elliot's mind. "You seek to break the cycle, but you are bound by it. The veil will consume all who defy it." Elliot fired his revolver, but the bullets dissolved into darkness. The Veiled One's tendrils stretched closer, reaching for him. Escape and revelation. Elliot grabbed the chalice and hurled it to the ground. The liquid spilled, hissing as it touched the stone. The runes dimmed, and the Veiled One recoiled, its form flickering. Seizing the moment, Elliot and the woman bolted into the forest. Behind them, the chapel collapsed in on itself with a deafening roar. When they reached the main road, Elliot turned to the woman. "Who are you? Why were they after you?" "I don't know," she stammered, tears streaming. They said I was chosen." Elliot's jaw tightened. The Order wasn't just performing rituals. They were preparing for something far worse. Cliffhanger. Back at his flat, Elliot examined the notebook. Among its pages, he found a new symbol he hadn't noticed before. A serpent devouring its own tail, encircling a single word. Rebirth. A knock at the door startled him. Revolver in hand, he opened it cautiously. No one was there. On the ground lay a blood-red ribbon tied around a dagger, with a note attached. You cannot stop what is coming.